What is up, guys? One of the things that I was thinking here recently is how many coins have been lost during this bear market, and how proportionally it's going to be so much worse percentage-wise than what it was in the 2013, 2014 boom cycle, and then the blow-off during 2015 and 2016 and all that stuff. Mainly because a lot of people raised funds through ERC20 tokens, and then they did mainnet swaps, and a lot of those people did not make the transition. I actually talked to one project CEO and CIO, and they even admitted to me that about 20% of the people who participated in their ICO were not able to recover their funds when they transitioned to the mainnet and they actually launched their product. And that was those people's fault. They didn't save the necessary information, didn't save their passwords, didn't save their keys, these kind of things, and then were not able to make the transition. So those coins essentially are lost forever, can't be recovered. And for the people who come in the future, there's actually less of a supply than they think. Now, we hear this a lot with Bitcoin, and they'll say like, well, okay, the Satoshi coins are out of play, and there's other coins that haven't moved for 5 or 6 years kind of thing, and so they're likely have been lost and these kind of things. So it's really hard to say how many coins have essentially been lost over time. There's really no telling on some of these projects a lot of times, and you can make certain, I think if people have done the ICO, then you can kind of tell from that. I've never seen it on EOS to say like, well, how many of the coins that were sold in the ICO, how many of those actually like registered their coins and then actually made the jump to, have Genesis accounts and all that. I know there are people that lost their accounts like that. They didn't register their coins, and they didn't stay on top of what was needed to be done. And that's one of the very, very toughest things about crypto, this last, 3, 4, 5 years, is that it's like, you've got to stay on top of it, and you've got to be on top of this to really maximize like what you're doing and stay vigilant on your investments and stuff like that. But in the same capacity, next to nobody can really make a living off of what's going on in the crypto market right now, which is crazy to think about. And I spoke about this before, is that you either have to be riding off of like the gains from the last boom. There's very few traders statistically who are actually going to make like legitimate gains to where they can just like essentially live off the, trading, whether it's swing trading or day trading in the crypto market. Statistically, it's just proven to be very, very bad, even in the stock market, let alone the crypto market is so unpredictable, and the whales are able to, push the price up or down at will kind of thing. And there's, obviously like they have that much more power to kind of like move those markets. And so you can't really make money that way. And then, one of the only ways you could really make money during these kind of bear cycles is if you're a brilliant programmer and people are still willing to pay you to continue to program. But even some of the consulting I was doing and some of the work that I was doing, let's say on EOS, a lot of that, a lot of those funds just kind of dried up, and then, different clients just kind of went into sleeper mode, and, everybody just kind of shuts down. A lot of times if you contact a lot of these projects, they don't even like email you back kind of thing. And it's just a very, very weird thing that there's this much money throughout the crypto market, but yet everything seems so dead in some respects. You essentially, even a lot of these brilliant programmers can't even make money themselves. So I just thought it was weird. And then, the other day I was reading an article, it's been like a week or two ago, and they were talking about Indeed, that there's all these listings for like blockchain specialists and stuff, and all these jobs out there supposedly for that. And I really kind of, in some respects, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. It may be true, but again, who really knows? But just the engagement and the amount of people that are still out there like watching these videos, still like trying to get airdrops, still trying to thug it out on these low liquidity, blogging websites, that are crypto based, that kind of thing. It's just like, it's literally like practically a ghost town. You see the people still out there trying to stack, but a lot of people just kind of tell themselves, well, it's not worth it. But this time around, like I said, is going to be proportionally way worse for the amount of coins that are going to be unrecoverable or out of circulation once these people come back around. And again, like I said before, like, you know, when Nano was Ray blocks, you know, I put some coins over on Ray wallet, and then recently I went back to that wallet and, you know, it was overtaken and kind of redirected to some scam site or something. So, you know, and I think I'm going to be able to get my coins, you know, through another wallet service kind of thing, and I've got the keys and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, like, for a non-technical person, if they checked out for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, they come back and they're just disillusioned. Like, well, where am I at? Like, what do I still have? Like, you know, did I lose these funds? Or I thought I had some Tron, I thought I had some EOS, I don't know what's going on with this. And, you know, a lot of those people, unfortunately, are going to be way behind. But in the same respect, if they were thugging it out every day, they're going to feel like they're working for nothing. So I don't even know what the answer is. I would have done things maybe a little bit differently this bear market if I had to. Not a ton of things different. I mean, how many regrets can we really pin down? And obviously throughout history, there's been, you know, people have lost access to, you know, thousands of Bitcoins, and, you know, those kind of stories, you know, hard drive failures, or lost like a computer to the dump, or, you know, these kind of things, these stories that we've heard over time. And I don't have any kind of like major story like that, but, you know, have had situations where you have a small amount of coins or something on an exchange, but the price dips so low that you can't trade out of it. You can't trade out of the coin, and you can't move the coin because it's below a threshold to, like, you know, take it out, and you just kind of feel like the money's essentially lost and sort of like trapped on this exchange. I've had situations on HitBTC where it was like I could not withdraw. Like, I ended up with like 15 tether. I'm still mad about it. Ended up with like 15 tether. Could not withdraw it. Could not trade out of it because it was below the threshold. I mean, it's just like really, really aggravating. So you're always losing these little pieces of coins, you know, like dust. You're losing dust all the time. And at one point it wasn't dust. Maybe it was like $30 or $40 or $50 or $100 or something. You just like lose this over time, let alone kind of the non-technical people losing at a much greater rate when they just kind of like completely check out and bury their head in the sand. So guys, I know it's tough, like in these bear markets. Keep pushing through, keep trying to stack as many coins as you can, keep trying to, you know, be vigilant to like what could potentially happen. That's why, okay, I just got this BBT air grab and stuff like that, and once again I sold it for more EOS, because if something's going to survive, you know, the highest probability survival is going to be EOS, you know. And so for that stuff to go up, EOS would have to go up anyway. Maybe I don't gain as much of a percentage if the other project takes off a bunch, but in the end, you know, a lot of people think that it's risky how much money I have in crypto, but even within crypto, there's certain risks that you're taking on by owning, you know, more kind of like secondary projects or like, you know, obviously even like altcoins, people say, well, that's risky. Altcoins are risky versus Bitcoin. Now I don't feel exactly the same way about that. I think it's risky just to hold Bitcoin, but I can understand if people want to hold, you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ether, you know, maybe like EOS, and, you know, some other fifth thing, you know, whether it's, I mean, you got Bitcoin, Litecoin, same code base essentially. So I don't think you're mitigating your risk there too much. And then EOS and Ether, different code bases. So, you know, you at least get a different code base, and then maybe you throw in something like Dash, or, you know, Dash is very similar code base again, or Zcash, you know, you got a similar code base and stuff, but you do have some of the fungibility aspects with the anonymity. So anyway, guys, just some random thoughts, you know, really. And If you guys had any kind of situations like what I'm talking about, where, it's like my Electronium wallet, I know that like to sync it, I would have to basically update the wallet and stuff. It won't sync if I started it up right now, or the Ray wallet where I had some nano and stuff, like I had to do some updates. I have to go through a different wallet service and utilize my keys to recover the coins, and this all could be like a very, very daunting task for people who are less technical. And I've had people say, well, don't you think that this is one of the things that's going to hold crypto back? Because, for instance, I told a friend, I said, the only time I access my EOS is actually through a virtual machine. I have a virtual machine that has like Ubuntu installed, and then within there, that's all I do is access the EOS in there. It's kind of like my sort of like EOS sandbox, so to speak. That's the only time, and I don't surf the web through that virtual machine or anything like that. It's specifically just for the EOS related stuff. And he kind of said like, wow, this is one of the reasons I'm not so sure that, all this crypto is going to take off. And I'm like, well, you got to understand, if you're investing in the stock market and you went to Fidelity or you went to Scott Trade and said, hey, I want to see the certificates, I want to see true ownership of these stocks and options, they would just laugh at you. There's no proof that, anybody even owns, that has these ownership in these companies, and you're not going to get some paper certificate saying you're a part owner or you got 10 shares of Apple or something like that. And so that's the unique thing, is most of the people that are going to come into crypto, they're going to like utilize these custodial services. They're going to go through Coinbase, and they're just going to leave the coins there. They're going to be like, oh, well, what's this? Oh yeah, I want Bitcoin. They're going to be like, okay, well, what's this other thing? Oh, this looks cheap. Oh, this is EOS. Oh, this is Stellar. Yeah, I'm going to get some of that. Oh, I heard about this Aetherium thing. I think I'll try to get one of those. That's how they come into it. And, they don't, it's essentially, they're doing the kind of the minimum, and they're kind of trusting those custodial services. And I don't recommend that people just kind of like leave their coins out on those exchanges, but for the bold practical purposes, somebody's easiest and their best bet is literally, if they did just get on Coinbase and Kraken and, pick like 5 different cryptocurrencies, and, that would be their investment, and they just left it on there and they never took it off. And that's what most people do. And we know that that'll push the prices higher and stuff. But for those of us that are, obviously like more engaged in this and, are more kind of adept to like what it is, and are managing, all the keys and wallets and all that kind of stuff like that, it's, it is one of those things. We want to be our own bank, and that's one of the lures of being in the crypto industry, and taking on that technical responsibility to do that. So I think that the premise that, oh, it's too technical or this is too difficult, and then like if you took a step further, most people are just going to, let's just say like, okay, they want to take it off of Coinbase and they want it in their own wallet. Well, they're just going to get something like, the Atomic wallet, or they're going to get something like the Exodus wallet, and they're going to put some coins in there. It's not that difficult if someone had ever used a computer before. So that aspect of it, I really, really do not think that it's technically infeasible that people are, able to enter the crypto market and kind of just like store their coins and stuff. But like what I started out this video as, it is a precarious situation. People are going to come back. There are a couple people that I sort of consult with, or they ask me, hey, is there anything new happening? I'll kind of tell them, well, this and this and this and this, and some of them are kind of like, oh shoot, I've kind of been out of the loop. I didn't know all that stuff was happening, and I understand that, like, people aren't going to be able to follow the day to day, and it's just literally 6 months is an eternity in the crypto market. And so when you say from peak to peak, like 2013 to 2017, 4 years, and then say our peak's going to be in 2021, 4 years is like, an eternity times 8. So I don't know, guys. Really can't hardly live off the crypto market for the most part. except in very, very, very rare cases. But yet, it's like you can't sleep on it. You got to keep stacking if you want to maximize the thing. So, you know, has there been any of those kind of situations that you guys have ran into where you lost coins in a mainnet swap, or maybe a wallet service went down, or you got locked out of an exchange because they banned US customers, any of that kind of stuff? I think that the people that come back in a couple years that have been leaving the stuff hang, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening for the most part. But has any of that happened to you guys? Leave a comment below and follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steam It, Twitter. See you guys later.